This is not breaking news. This is not a scandal. This is not about one person. What I'm about to tell you goes far beyond headlines, far beyond political theater. Something quiet is happening right now, something deeply dangerous, and it's happening inside Washington. You won't see it on the front pages or hear about it in the typical sound bites, but trust me, it is happening. A quiet revolt is taking place, not against one person, but against an entire system. And the stakes are higher than you might think. This isn't about personalities. This isn't even about policies. This is about power. The very fabric of our democracy is being tested slowly, quietly, until suddenly it's too late. You need to understand this. The system is unraveling right under our noses, and you need to know why it matters. Because if this continues, we may be witnessing the end of the system as we know it. By the end of this, you'll see exactly what's at stake. Stay with me. You think you know who controls Washington. You think you know who holds the power. But what if I told you the true force pulling the strings right now isn't a president or even a political party? It's a system, one that thrives in the shadows, pulling the levers of power with far more precision than anyone realizes. You see, it's not the president who's really in charge anymore. It's something bigger, something more abstract. The machinery of government, the unspoken rules, the deep networks, these are the forces that dictate the way power flows in this country. And right now, they are shifting. This isn't just a battle between two sides. It's a battle for the very structure of our system. The laws, the precedents, the mechanisms that were put in place to keep us from spiraling out of control, they're being tested. And it's happening right now, while most of us are too distracted to notice. Are you starting to see what's at stake? There's something that has shifted quietly over time. It's so subtle, most of us don't even realize it. Before, there were clear lines, clear systems. The presidency was constrained by laws, by checks, by a set of rules that limited power. That was the design. But something changed. Slowly, almost imperceptibly. Over years, the system has been eroded, little by little, until now, what once seemed impossible has become the new norm. We got used to it. We adjusted. We let it slide. And now we're faced with a reality where those limits no longer feel so solid. This shift, it didn't come in one dramatic moment. It came slowly, so slowly that we didn't see it until it was too late. And that's the danger, because the most dangerous changes aren't the loud ones, they're the quiet ones, the ones that sneak in while we're looking the other way. Do you see it now? Just this week, something concrete happened. It wasn't an abstract debate. It wasn't a theoretical crisis. It was real. Republican lawmakers, yes, Republicans joined forces with Democrats to advance a war powers resolution. This wasn't a symbolic gesture. This was a formal move to restrict the president's power to wage war without congressional approval. Let that sink in for a moment. These lawmakers didn't just disagree with the president over policy. They didn't just issue a press release or make a speech. They acted. They took a step that could fundamentally alter the balance of power in this country. Why? Because they understand something most of us have forgotten. When you give one person too much power, it doesn't stay in their hands. Eventually, it slips through the cracks and out of control. And the president? He didn't take it well. Reports say he lashed out, calling Senator Susan Collins with crude threats and profanity. He didn't try to convince her. He didn't negotiate. He tried to intimidate. But here's the thing, it didn't work. That might be the most dangerous part of this entire situation, because it means something even more unsettling. For the first time, someone his own party decided they didn't have to follow. What does that mean for the future? So what's really going on here? What's the mechanism behind all of this? It's simple, really. There's a system in place that allows one person, the president, to wield far more power than most people realize. And it's not just about the authority to make decisions in a crisis. It's about bypassing the normal checks and balances, about consolidating power in ways that were never intended. Trump's actions are the symptom, but the system, it's the disease. You see, this isn't about one man. It's about the way power functions when it goes unchecked. When the president can declare national emergencies without oversight, when they can launch military actions without consulting Congress, when the entire apparatus of government is bent to serve their personal interests rather than the public good, that's where the danger lies. Who benefits from this? The president, obviously, but there are others too. Corporate elites, special interests, and anyone else who can seize the opportunity to gain more control while the system is distracted by chaos. And who absorbs the damage? Well, that's the rest of us. The people who lose their jobs, who see their industries destabilized, who feel the ripple effects of an erratic foreign policy, the ones left holding the bag while the powerful play their game. So now the question is, who's going to stop it? And how? The stakes are rising fast. And the world is noticing. While the Republicans in Washington were fighting to limit the president's war powers, something else was happening at the same time. Trump declared another national emergency, this time over Venezuelan oil assets. Now, at first glance, it might seem like a typical energy policy move, protecting resources, securing American interests. But look closer. The timeline for benefiting from those assets? Years. Decades, maybe. The infrastructure? Enormous. But who's really going to profit? Multinational energy corporations, not American consumers. So why declare an emergency at all? Because emergencies do something very specific. They concentrate power. They let the president bypass normal checks. They let the executive branch skip over Congress. They allow the president to take control, to direct resources, to sidestep any accountability. And that's the playbook. Every time the heat turns up, another emergency is declared. Another crisis shifts the focus away from the real issues, from the slow unraveling of the system. It's not about solving problems. It's about controlling the narrative, manipulating the response, and keeping everyone too distracted to notice what's really happening. And that's how the system starts to break. Let me ask you this. How does this affect you? You might not sit in the Senate. You might not have a front row seat to the debates happening behind closed doors. But make no mistake, this is your fight. Every time the president declares an emergency, every time military power is wielded without consent, it's you who feels the consequences. It's your job that could be at risk when trade relationships crumble. It's your savings that could be impacted when markets are disrupted by instability. It's your future that's uncertain when allies lose trust in America's commitments. You think that doesn't affect you? Think again. When military families are called up, when soldiers are sent into dangerous conflicts, they don't go to the White House. They go to your neighborhood. They go to families like yours. And when the world starts to doubt America's stability, that doubt doesn't stay confined to Washington. It ripples out, slowly, silently. You're living in it. And if this continues, it won't just be the political elite that pays the price, it will be all of us. The ripple effect isn't just national, it's global. You think this is a Washington problem? You think it's isolated to the corridors of power here in the US? Think again. The chaos we're seeing is spreading. When the US president threatens military action against NATO allies, when trust starts to fray, that's not just a problem for Washington, it's a problem for Europe, for the rest of the world. For every nation that depends on American leadership, on the stability of American commitments. And what happens when that trust erodes? Alliances crumble. Security agreements fall apart. The global order shifts in ways we can't predict. Countries look for new partners. Neutral nations start choosing sides. And when the U.S. starts looking more like a wild card than a pillar of stability, the entire international system begins to shake. What does that world look like? We're about to find out. Now we come to the future. And there are three possible paths we could take from here. The first, asterisk, asterisk, adjustment, asterisk, asterisk. The system could recalibrate, forcing some kind of compromise. Maybe Congress regains its authority. Maybe Republicans and Democrats find a way to work together to reestablish balance. The machinery of oversight kicks back into gear. The power of the presidency gets constrained again, just like it was meant to be. The second, asterisk, asterisk, erosion, asterisk, asterisk. This is the more insidious path. Power continues to shift, slowly, steadily. The checks and balances erode further. Each new emergency declaration, each new executive action becomes just a little bit easier. The president's reach expands. And Congress, well, they just keep falling further behind. And the third, asterisk, asterisk, rupture, asterisk, asterisk. The worst case scenario, the system breaks down entirely. The president seizes even more power. The structure of checks and balances, gone. Congress loses its ability to act as a real counterweight. The executive branch becomes the entire government with no limits, no restraints, and no accountability. We don't know which path we're on yet, but it's up to us to pay attention. Because once we choose, there's no going back. And here's the truth. We're at a crossroads, a decision point. What happens next will shape the future of this country. Not just the next election, but the very fabric of how power works in America. Will we watch as this system unravels piece by piece, or will we find a way to hold the line, to reclaim the checks and balances that have made this country what it is? The future isn't set, and whether we rise to meet this challenge or let it slip away will define the next era of American governance. But the stakes couldn't be higher. So what's your part in all of this? How will you act? Will you sit back and watch as the system falls apart, or will you demand that the rules still matter? Will you speak up when the power grabs are too blatant to ignore? This fight is happening now. It's happening in Washington, but it's also happening across this country. And it's up to us, each and every one of us, to decide which path we're going to take. Stay engaged, stay informed, because this isn't going away. If you want to keep up with how this develops, don't forget to subscribe. I'll be breaking it down every step of the way. What happens next? It's up to us to decide.